Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you everyone for being on time. So I'm Alyssa from IBF Careers Connect, and welcome to another session with IBF Careers Connect. So now, before we start the session, we would like to request for all questions to be posted in the Q&A window, which is located at the bottom of your screen, and the speakers will respond to the questions live in session. So as such, without much further ado, let's welcome the host for today, our IBF Careers Connect career advisor, Ms. Shalene So, and our esteemed guest speaker, Mr. Albert Zi.
Hi, afternoon, everybody. Hi, I'm Shalene. I'm a career advisor here at IBF.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Albert from Amundi.
Right, and I actually represent part of our team here at IBF Careers Connect to provide career advisory support for individuals who are within the financial sector, as well as for those who are aspiring to join the financial sector. And today's session is a very special session that we have this IBF in conversation webinar where we invite Mr. Albert Zi from Amundi to share with us about career pathways, and how you can look at different ways of, gaining entry into the asset management sector. And I won't, ask further questions, but we'll jump straight to get to know Albert a bit more. Right, Albert, would you like to share with our friends here about your career in asset management? Was it by chance or choice? Just to get our friends oriented about the industry and your journey.
Thanks, Shalene. Thank you to IBF for inviting myself to be here to have this conversation with you. Before I start, I just want to encourage people to ask questions. This session is for you. And to Shalene's question, I've spent the last 20 years in asset management, the first 16 years with Schroders and the last 4 years in Amundi. Asset management wasn't my first choice. So before that, I spent a couple of years as a derivative fund desk representative in the British Investment Bank. To answer Shalene's question, I joined asset management by chance. So if some of you are disappointed, I'm sorry, but back then, 25 years ago, asset management was really not a known industry for fresh graduates for me back then. So most of us back then, we finished our degree with a kind of base case scenario of joining a bank. So it's either the investment bank, you have the M&A, corporate finance, you have the treasuries, global markets, or you can join a consumer bank, corporate bank, business banking. So by and large, I would say most of my friends have the kind of mindset when we finish our degree. So asset management was really by chance. I spent the first 2 years in investment banking. Cut the story short, not too comfortable, or maybe I would say I'm not suitable for it. I slept 4 or 5 hours a day for a long time, and the story is I would like to pivot. So I think the pivot part is very important. So I actually went to UK to do a 1-year full-time master program with a very open mindset that I may potentially open to work in UK, or maybe consider other opportunities outside Treasury in Singapore after taking a 1-year break. So actually 1 year later, I think this is the story. I had a coffee, that's a keyword. I have a coffee with a friend near Raffles Place MRT because I take train. And I bumped into the girlfriend of my good ex-colleague around the MRT station. And that was when I met up with my first asset management boss, who was on the road with this girlfriend of my ex-colleague, who actually asked me what am I doing in Singapore, and that conversation led to an interview on that week, and I joined the firm 1 week later. So if you're curious to know, I will tell you the answer. Did I know what asset management was? No. Did I know what is NAV pricing? I said I don't know. Basically, I may not be the most suitable person to be in the asset management industry back then, but my boss took chance on me. And she also told me that I was very open-minded, willing to learn, and even though many people like us back then was too fixated on certain career path, but I was very open-minded. So even though my friends say, oh, why asset management, or why not go back to investment bank? There's so many departments you can go to, even though you don't like late nights and all that. So I think the take back is, on hindsight, taking MRT is good.
Okay.
Just joking. I think meet more friends. I think my message is very clear. Meet more friends. Discomfort actually doesn't mean not suitable. Sometimes when you feel uncomfortable, it may suggest that you are now moving into a non-comfort zone, which may not be bad for you. So take a leap of faith and be open-minded. So on hindsight, I felt that was the chance that I took.
And I think that's a really good point there, in terms of being open and taking chances on opportunities that doesn't seem that prospective in that sense, right? And when maybe we can talk about you mentioned about through coffee you met your first boss, right, in asset management, and how has that since then until now, right? How has the industry evolved and to what it is today? Would you be able to share with some of our friends here who, are probably not from the industry and they're really curious, and we do really receive a lot of requests to explore what are the possibilities. So maybe would you be able to share with us on that?
Yes, I hope that there was someone who asked this question 25 years ago for me to hear the answer. So I discovered the hard way, which is joining one. So to answer Shirley's question, the industry definitely has evolved together with the banks, the insurers, and the whole industry. If I may say, I think thanks to the regulator and also the whole ecosystem of financial markets in Singapore over the last 25 years. So the size of the asset management industry has grown structurally and continually and healthily over each of the last 25 years. It's on a totally different path compared to banks or insurance company, but on its own, it has been a very healthy, structurally positive trend. That's why many other asset managers who are not having an office here are opening. Every year we hear, oh, there's another one, another two, another five.
Right.
So some 20, 25 years ago, I may use one hand or two only maximum to say out all the asset managers that could potentially be in the market or be well known in the market. As of right now, I think the list definitely go to 30 or 40 or more. So just to give everyone here a statistics answer, IMAS, which is Investment Management Association of Singapore, which represents the asset management industry, the CEO told me, Carmen told me that now we have nearly 200 licensed asset management firms. So some of them are small, and some of them are mid-sized like ours, and some of them having an Asia hub in Singapore. So it's definitely an expanding industry, and that means you need talent in every aspect, front office, back office, middle office, technology, and so on.
Right. I think that's wonderful to hear on in terms of the sheer volume of asset management firm that's grown in Singapore, and along the size and the types of firms that's growing, and we happen to actually have our first question actually asking about, with much of the family office moving from Hong Kong to Singapore, will it affect the growth of asset management industry? What are your thoughts about that?
I guess this question can be very well answered by IBF or IMAS or WMI, who are very passionate about this topic. So my friends from WMI, Wealth Management Institute, is extremely busy with a family office because
I see.
I think like 5 years ago, there are less than 20, and now we're talking about more than 500. So imagine the number of compliance officers needed. The number of lawyers, the number of even admin officers, operational representative, number of CIO, pseudo general manager of the office. So it's really a busy sector. To the question about how does it positive or negatively affect asset managers, I would say it's a little bit two different things altogether. So family office is part of the ecosystem. They are asset owners. So by right, they are the clients of asset managers like us. So it's a good sign because there could only be more opportunity for us to value add to the asset owners. On the other hand, they actually also traditionally prefer to work with financial institutions that is able to handle some of the more core banking needs. So I would say the positive impact may be more related to the private banks or the banks which have a division that handle family office.
Right.
So I've heard a lot of increased hiring among the private banks in Singapore. So if any of you are interested to join the ecosystem, I think sign up a good course recommended by IBF, and check out the Wealth Management Institute. They do have many courses like that equip you to join the ecosystem.
Right, right. Thank you for sharing that, Albert. And along the next question that that I have in mind is that as with this growth that that you shared with us in the asset management industry, and also what were some of your personal experience like as you develop your career in asset management? Like, were there any like managers who were like instrumental in helping you to shape your career, like so that you are like on the track that you like to develop yourself? Like, do you already know, or was it like you must meet somebody kind of thing? So which one actually comes first?
Yeah, so Charlene, I'm very thankful the 4 bosses I had at Schroders over the 16 years I worked for. So they know who they are. I don't need to say their name. They have left the firm in the industry. And also my ex-boss in Amundi, who hired me here 4 years ago, but he's promoted to a global role back in Paris. So maybe the question is more for them to answer and not me. But I understand your question. So maybe personally, I feel that some of the reasons that we work well together, if I may say, could be due to some of the following factors. I think the first one, which I also inculcate that to my children, 3 kids, is the mentality that you have every day. So always put the interest of the firm above that of the department. Put the interest of the department and the team above myself, or rather yourself. So even today, I tell myself I don't own this company. So I'm a trusted steward of this generation of leaders who is now in this office, and the future leaders. And my aim is to grow them like a gardener hired by the vineyard master kind of concept, who are now currently in Paris, right? So I think this mentality is important because it does bring you a long way in your career. I also find, and I encourage my colleagues also to try to value add to other team members. Have this mentality that your role in the organization is to value add. So a little bit, I'm trying to say a little bit less self-entitlement in some of the things that we feel. Help our bosses, our team members, our colleagues from other departments, and for me, I'm the front line. So to the clients, solve their problems, not giving them more problems. So whenever we feel a little bit down or stressed, we all have in the office, maybe we should let them internalize. Take time, and don't overreact. I think that is also very important. I feel that the young generation is doing very well in this point. Maybe during my generation a bit less. It's being very confident in your views and speak up. So there's nothing wrong to be wrong. But if you don't say it, people do not know your view. While we try not to monopolize discussion, but I think it's very common that there's disagreement on views among fellow colleagues. So the art is how to disagree with someone very politely. Sometimes not doing it immediately, or maybe doing it in a more professional manner, with less audience behind the scene. Then that's how a more positive reputation can be built. So I feel this may be one area or so. Lastly, is I feel that it's also the way how we think about our career. So if you take a more long-term view about your career, then I'm trying to say money is secondary. So we all need money to feed our family and for yourself. But I believe that we try not to always compare yourself with the opportunity outside, because this will never end. So having it a little bit more doesn't make you happier or successful. I can assure you. I see happiness in work more likely to be derived from fulfillment in your work, which is about what are you value adding in the organization. So maybe I should stop here. But in
Thank
summary,
you so much, Albert.
these are the few things I
Yes,
have in
I
mind.
think it's
Yeah.
excellent, and we get that actually. In fact, I think we have received a couple of questions, and I think it's really on point to and also echo what we hear also from our job seekers who come to us for coaching sessions, and I think because most of the candidates that come to us are mid-career, and we have a very on point question to seek your advice. Really, for mid-career, is it possible to look at career switch to asset management? Is it something that is a worthwhile effort to explore?
The answer is yes. So on behalf of IMAS and my friends in the asset management industry, we are looking forward to meet up with you. When my friends and I catch up, we always talk about talent crunch. Imagine. We always talk about not enough good resources for us to hire to beef out our benches or to beef out the core team that we have. So asset management industry is an industry that in need of talent. So all of you in this call are welcome. Question mark is, do you feel that you have what it takes to pivot if you do not come from the asset management industry? So I would like to encourage you, keep an open mind. When I joined asset management, I told you I didn't even know what is NAV. I don't know what is bid offer price. I do not know what is prospectus. But that doesn't mean you cannot join the industry. So even though in my degree, I'm sorry to my school, but in my degree, I never learned anything about asset management. It was never covered at all. But that doesn't mean that I cannot work in an asset management company. I think that's what I'm trying to say. So if any of you who are currently a compliance officer in a bank or insurer or now or before, welcome to the asset management industry. The compliance role may not be too difficult. Likewise, legal, finance, operation, middle office is all available. For those of you who have experience in investment, our role is always welcome, whether is it very frontline like sales or in the middle office like client servicing, or there's this role called product specialist, which is very common, where you're not doing frontline, but you're representing the investment team to meet up with clients. So in other words, there's a lot of opportunities in our industry, and constantly they're looking for good people to join them. So
and on the topic of good people, Albert, can I ask? Early on, you mentioned about the kind of talent that would be attractive to that the industry will be looking out for, and I'm grateful that you share some of the possible pathways with our friends here today.
Yes.
Besides these pathways, and of course, what else do you actually look out for, or what does the industry would find a suitable candidate that they will consider? Because we get a lot of candidate asking us, I've been applying and I'm not sure what's the point that I'm missing. So maybe would you be able to share with our friends?
I think if I may go back to the genesis, if you want the pivot, right? Because I also did that before. You must have a very good CV first. So let's go back to basic. I'm not talking about, come on, Albert, don't tell me that. But I think the CV is indeed your best reflections about what you can functionally offer to the new organization, because your historical chronological order of experience in the previous industry may not be relevant to the new industry that you're entering into. So not just asset management. But if you have gathered enough working experience, 5, 10, 15, 20, if you're able to shape your CV a little bit towards more functional, which I do believe in IBF, there are teams and people and resources who can help you draft it out nicely, then your future employer will be able to see that traits and soft skill that is well articulated in your experience. So in other words, I'm trying to say you need to market yourself a little bit. So don't underestimate the importance of having a good CV. Secondly is your soft skills. So I'm not talking about network, just about network. I'm talking about there are certain key areas of future development that both the industry and MAS is pushing very hard in asset management. So buzzwords such as ESG/sustainability is very important. Whether you're a lawyer, compliance officer, finance, front office, back office, investment product, even management team, is something that you have to know. It's the language that you need to gradually adopt in order to lengthen your and deepen your career in asset management. So that's one. I do believe in IBF and other associations in Singapore. They do offer this kind of subsidized and reliable certification and modules also.
Right.
Second is digital. So all of us may have worked in organization whereby some of the transformation and changes lead to changes. So one way to another is kind of linked to automation, or it could be linked to digitization of certain processes. You can trust me that it's not difficult. In my previous company and also in Amundi, there were fresh graduates who just spent 3 months learning how to use Tableau, Blue Prism, and there's so many software in the market. And then with that skill set, you stood out against so many other people. And when you go for interview, the buzzword is, oh, you mean you know how to use Blue Prism, or you know how to use Tableau on some of the other 3 to 5 common digital and automation devices. Attend some of these courses, because immediately you become the solution to the organization problem. Immediately you become the change agent and the catalyst for progresses for the organization. And they hope that you join. Then you can also teach your other colleagues who haven't picked up the skill set.
Right.
Lastly, I feel that having a positive attitude is very important. Every sector has its challenges, up and down. So likewise, asset management. But if you have a positive attitude, then your lifespan and also your longevity in the career will be much more comfortable. Yeah.
Right. I think really on point on the very go back down to the very basics. Really have a good resume, and I think Albert further distill what a good resume means, other than checking the check boxes, right, on what's the technical skills, really about the good attitude and the traits that you need to display, right? And I think on the topic about early on, Albert mentioned about sustainability, because we get a lot of candidate who comes to us and tell us, sustainability is a very hot topic, right? And I want to get into asset management. What would you be advice for our friends who wants to pivot into it? Is it a very specialized area, or what is sustainability like track like in asset management? Yeah.
So I'll give a generalized answer. When I finished school, that was like nearly 25 years ago, I wrote in my CV, CFA candidate level 1. So that differentiate against someone else who never put that line. So was I certified yet? No. But the employer knows that this guy know that he need to improve, upgrade himself, so that he's able to value add in the organization better. So that I think that's the spirit behind. I'm encouraging everyone here to pick up something relevant in the ESG space. Is there a terrible cost? No. Is there a relevant cost for all kinds of jobs in asset management? No. So, but there are very good causes which I believe IBF can guide you along. Just express your thought. For example, if you are more towards the front line, there are certain causes which are more relevant for the front line. If you are a background in risk management, trading, investment management, research analyst, and all that, obviously there are some causes that is very catered to that. There are, yeah. And there are also some which are more related to non-investment, non-front line, so it's maybe more suitable for the back end and the middle offices. If you are not sure yet about your career, you want to keep your option extremely open, then there are some more lengthy courses that cover all aspects, and you can invest your time on it, keep your option open, and so this would be one of the best way. The key is you may not need to finish it to go for the interview.
Awesome.
You need to sign up, start going through it. It may be a 1 year, 2 year journey to complete the whole ESG journey, but at least you started it. And then don't be surprised some of the doors may be open wider for you.
Right. I think that's very encouraging to hear, Albert. Just for our friends here who are asking some questions about courses, where you can sign up, that IBF provide, I'm happy to share. All right. IBF actually funds courses under the standard training scheme. And actually, before this talk, I actually generated a quick list on the future emerging skills as well as sustainability skills kind of courses. But of course, like our website actually is much more comprehensive than what I generated today. today. So from topics like what Albert has mentioned, from sustainability, understanding about climate change specifically, or even artificial intelligence, digital transformation. And again, like what Albert mentioned, it's really up to individual, what's your commitment and what's your, runway that you can afford for upgrading your skill sets. The best time is really to get started, to indicate your interest, to keep the wheel spinning, that on showing your interest and your motivation on that. I think that's wonderful. Maybe we can check with Albert with the next question. Okay, Albert. I was wondering whether are there necessary for everyone who are interested to join asset management to definitely must have a CFA kind of certification? I mean, aside the courses that IBF funds, it's quite common that we see that. Is it a must have?
So I'm a CFA for almost 2 decades. I'm sorry to the society, the answer is no. Most of my friends and I, we sign up because of the same reason. We just want to carry on the learning journey early so that you have it on your name card. This is the confession, right? So all of us, like, instead of having it 10 years later, want to have it now, and the cost is more and more expensive. And as you get older, the time you have left to study is less. So it was as simple as that. But the truth is that if you have CFA and you go for an interview and you think that you have CFA and the other that doesn't, and you stand out, I'm sorry, it's actually not necessarily the case. Yeah, so I'm sorry if any of you have signed up for CFA and you have seen some kind of expectation. I do believe that the expectation should be for yourself, that you actually learn from it and then you apply it in the future, instead of an expectation that the 3 letters will give you something more than any other candidate who doesn't. But that doesn't discourage people from taking up a course at CFA. So there are many other courses. I think more important is whether the skill and knowledge that you pick up is relevant in the area that you're entering into. So if you are currently an engineer and you want to enter into finance, taking CFA make a lot of sense. Not because whether the course teach you what you need to know. It's more like an intention that you're expressing to your next employer, that I'm willing to spend next 3 years or longer to get myself certified, so that you know that I'm value adding to your company. Yeah.
Right.
So it's more from that intent. Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah. And let's jump on to an interesting angle, because for some of our friends who are not from the asset management industry, or maybe, just budding and just not really getting a full lens, what is a day in the life like in an asset management firm? Albert, would you like to share with our friends?
I think if I may generalize my fellow colleagues in this office in their work, the wonderful thing about asset management is more than 50% of the time, your tasks at work today, tomorrow, and the week and next month are quite predictable. So is it good or bad? It depends on you. But I can assure you, my colleagues in this office, they know what to do tomorrow and next week and next month without having overall in charge or their HOD being around. They don't need that. They know what to do. It's a machine. It's very industrialized. You're not coming to office asking for orders and instructions every day or every month. So 50% or more of the time, you already know what to do, because the engine and the industrialized business model allow you to function that way. However, if you want to progress in the organization or in any organization or sectors, you need to value add, right? So transformation, growth mindset, and involve in initiative and projects that bring the department or the company or the firm to another level, those things are unpredictable. So for a lot of my colleagues in this office, some of them who are not very into change, so they just focus on their core capabilities in completing the tasks they're asked to do. But there are many others who are also always raising their hands to be involved in workshop A, B, C, D, E. Typically, they are initiative coming all the way from the group CEO and also at the local CEO level to ensure there's alignment of resource allocation. That is when your transversal capability and leadership qualities will be shown, because I witnessed many of my colleagues in the industry or office are very strong vertical specialists or technicians. This is very important because the company hire you to do that. But in the very long run, especially you're in the firm for too long, I think having that transversal exposure and also capability does help you lengthen your career. So I would say that a lot of my colleagues, including myself, are involved in all these very interesting, I call it CCA, but they're not CCA, but they are really initiatives that lead to bottom line, either improving revenue or reduce or improve efficiency, right, or cost control, right? So contributing to the group or to the firm. So I would say that will be like 20-30% of our time. Working hours are relatively more favorable to some other financial institutions. I have many friends from banks, insurance companies, and they're quite envious about my pretty consistent work-life balance. So not just myself, but most of my friends in the asset management industry. And being a French organization, you can imagine morning you are very busy doing work with your fellow colleagues in the office. After 2 or 3 p.m., you are very busy on calls with our colleagues in Europe, the headquarters, down into many work streams and calls to be doing things together with people from other countries. So I think most of the people we have here like that. It's a balance of working with colleagues in the office and also working with colleagues from 10, 20 different nationality. It's quite exciting.
I think it's great to hear that, that balance in terms of that, I think, flexible arrangement in that sense, while everybody is empowered to know what they need to do, to best perform, in a role in a firm, example, right? And I think next question I think we like to ask is that what for mid-career, right? Who are actually say with some digital or even tech background, and they are looking at the asset management industry. Would there be much chance for them to make that pivot? Because they are not from asset management, probably they are from banking, they are from other fintech firms. What are their chances like?
I'll give you an example, and this is the real one. I always feel that asset management companies are behind banks or even insurers when it comes to technological advancement. We're prideful about asset management, so when it comes to asset management, we are more advanced. We have our own portfolio management system. So I'm not talking about that part. I'm talking about general technology. So automation processes, digitizations of engagement, and so on. So if there is a candidate coming from a more advanced sectors of the financial institution who is open-minded to come into a little bit more conservative and slow-moving financial sector that technology is still waiting to be transformed, I think you will be welcome, number one. You will be leading a team or be a role model for a team of people when you're here. And you have a lot to offer on the table. The example I have is recently we also have our advisory board, and we introduced a veteran who came from the banks to be on our board. So his input is immense, even though it's not full time. He's an advisor. So what I'm trying to say is that asset management companies are here to serve the end investors, and of course there is institutional investors and intermediary institutions in the middle. If there are people who have this lens of 5, 10, 15 year experience, imagine you put that lens into our firms and industry, right? It's extremely valuable because we spend a lot of our time guessing what our clients want. So if you know what the clients want, come. Then we can fix many problems without spending most of our time guessing or second guessing or so on. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing on that. And I think on the top of my mind of some of our candidates as well, I think other than the you're sharing about the digital side in terms of the readiness of the firm and being able to benefit from those who are not from the sector. what about those who, maybe has taken, some time of their career, and that they are looking at, an entry into the asset management industry? Are there any such kind of, based on what like such kind of program, or that how should they approach that, their interest to make their entry into the asset management sector?
Yeah, so I may not have the model answer, I'm sorry, but I thought I did that for myself. So I spent 2 years as a fresh grad working for a very exciting organization, and the job was maybe not suitable. So I took 1 year to kind of like a reset, right? So when you reset your expectation also. So and we started in an industry that I never planned for, and I chanced upon and I joined. So maybe that would be the mindset that some of you may want to consider having. Take a bit longer term view about what you're going to be exposed to when you join asset management industry. Pick up a course. I can share what kind of course. Pick up a course that allow you to reset. Some people would take my comments as seriously as maybe take a degree, spend 3 years doing it. I think that maybe that's a bit too much, because you're already skilled, you already have either a poly education or university. Basically, you already have enough tertiary education. If you're looking for pivot, I do believe IBF. I also do believe Wealth Management Institute and other universities have so many courses that allow you to pick it up and pivot. I'm aware some of these courses are typically 1 year for full time, and they do know that the people who join would like to be pivoted. So they have very strong career development officers, just like most universities do. They will connect you with the new destination that you're looking to join. So that may be one route. If you think you don't want to waste, you don't want to invest 1 year full time, you can do part time. And some of these courses, I'm aware, I have friends who are working and doing this instead of 1 year, but it's over 2 years.
I think that's very good advice about,
Yeah.
Managing, sometimes 1 year or 2 years may not be for everyone. And I think, and I think on the topic of, taking time off and doing a course, like, you mentioned about you taking your master's, after working full time for 2 years, right? So your friends here were actually asking, like after your studies, right, did the course actually help you to better navigate, your career? Does taking like a master's kind of like help expand your perspective?
Yeah, I'll be honest. So in my case, I felt that not others. In my case, I felt that my master's doesn't value add that much to me from the intellectual perspective, because I have my bachelor degree in finance. So you take a master's in finance, for people who are from the school, they say, what's this guy trying to do? Why not you take a PhD in finance and then come back to the working world and you realize that it's the same, right? I personally feel that this master degree would be most value adding if the individual maybe was originally an engineer or a lawyer, or or your first degree was from a non-finance background, and you're looking to pivot, and you don't want to spend another 3-4 years to do this, right? So having that 1 year master program in asset and wealth management, I do believe WMI has one, and I'm very sure the other school also have. It's the best way for you to press the reset button. I really do not want to be in my current situation of non-finance career path. I pivot. So I think that should be the mentality. So to answer the question, for this group of individual, I am very sure they will benefit from the course immensely, because the things they learn are necessary for them to feel confident enough to enter the industry. Whereby for someone who came from finance degree and then do a master's in finance, I do doubt myself, what am I picking up? So I hope I answered your question.
Thanks. I think that's excellent. And just pressing on a little bit on this, where you took the course and all that, how else does it benefit you, besides gaining that perspective, in your career? Sorry, this is not scripted before, but maybe you can think about it.
When I joined the course, I have an outcome in mind, because I didn't join the course to further my finance academic background. Because if I wanted that, I would have signed up a PhD. So it was really purely for the opportunity to press the reset button and then find something else. So not just myself, my fellow colleagues and my fellow schoolmates back then, they were all around the same. In the middle of the course, you start going for job interview already.
And
so that was the
that's
mindset.
great.
So
Right.
to
It's
answer
really
your
a
question,
mindset.
yes, we benefit from it, but
Mm,
I think the outcome in mind was never lost throughout that 1 year
mm.
period.
Wonderful. And does it help with, for you to as well as to expand your network because you are among like-minded friends? Does it give you more confidence or that motivation to pursue and stay on the course? Because it's not uncommon. Some people may have embark on a master's of some sort and are unable to complete it because of work commitment and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the network part is valuable. So
Mm,
I do have a friend who is now in a leadership position from another asset management company. He wasn't from asset management, so he attended that course from NTU, I think. He must be the first 3 batches of that course. And through the course, he get to know the husband of someone in my previous company, and through that he joined the industry. So again, don't underestimate the power of chance. So you have to take the chance. Unfortunately, chance are only available if you take it. So you have
right.
to get yourself exposed. You have to get yourself
Mm-hmm.
connect. You have to get
Mm-hmm.
yourself like what I joked just now, right? Have coffee.
Yes.
Have coffee. Maybe you hover around the MRT station. No, just kidding. But basically, give yourself the chance to be exposed to opportunity to pick up the chances.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful. Because I think it's only when you take that step and
Yeah,
take that chance that's where things start to expand like the possibilities that you can
correct.
look
Correct.
out for, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I think we maybe can spend the next 15 minutes or 20 minutes to address the rest of the question. You may have answered some of them. Let me look at the question. Okay, very specifically because some of our candidates are not specialists per se, probably more generalists, some BD development background kind, right? Are there any specific job role or pathways that has the least entry barrier that and is currently in demand that our friends here can explore? Yeah.
So it boils down to your skill set and also your interest, because even if the role is available and you can do it, but in the absence of that passion and your skill set, you may discover, that's not what I want, right? So I want to be very clear about this point. But some of the roles are a little bit less difficult to get, not because their requirement is lower. Maybe that is largely because they are transition roles. That means people who do this who actually eventually progress to do something else, right? So the turnover may become higher, but it also suggests that it's a nice pivoting role to join, and you know that you can do something different eventually. So one of it is client servicing. So in the industry, I estimate no less than 100 people in the industry doing client servicing in the very moment. I'm not surprised it's even up to 200. And I'm not saying turnover is high, but I would say that maybe 1/4, 1/3 of these professionals, after a while, they want to do sales. Or after a while, they want to pivot to do something else within the finance company, because this is a starting point, and it just happens not to be their long-term interest. So client servicing role is one that require meticulous mind. So if you are someone who is not comfortable with numbers, not comfortable with Excel sheets, not comfortable or processes, then you struggle from day one, right? So what's the point? But if you are very comfortable with numbers, you have a structured mind of running processes. These are actually very suitable starting point for anyone from other industry to join. You find it so easy to start. You probably find it too easy after a while, and then you start to think about pivot after that, which is good. The second one is risk management. So may I introduce risk management? Because I feel that a lot of people assume that when you join investment firm, it's either you're on the back office or in the front office or you are managing money. It's not true. So when you're talking about managing money, there are actually four big circles surrounding that managing money topic. So there's a group of people what we call researchers. They do not trade, they do not invest, they only research. So that's analysts. There's also a group called traders. They don't research, they don't invest, they only trade. So that's another circle. A lot of them are ex-brokers or ex-capital markets participants, so they're very comfortable. So they not necessarily are investment people or research people. So a lot of people mix up the four circles. Then the third one is mostly known as portfolio managers. They don't research, they don't trade. They only design portfolios or create optimized portfolio. So it's a very niche job. Not everyone in this office are portfolio managers, but they are also the third circle. And the last one is risk management. What is risk management? When you drive a car, can you do it without your side mirror and the main mirror in front? You can't. You need something else to tell you your blind spot. And don't be surprised, I've seen how some risk manager eventually become analysts or fund managers after 5-10 years. And the barrier to entry for risk management is a bit lower versus, say, fund managers or analysts on a relative basis. Risk management is a very niche part of the work. So I don't have the time to articulate all of it, but you can take a look about what it is and also pick up relevant courses. But it's very common. In a bank there is, in an insurance company also there is, in the asset management likewise as well.
Thank you so much for sharing on this 4 areas that our friends here can consider, and as well we have also someone from private banking side. I think you have also addressed his question already, or her questions in relation to where someone from private banking can look at, and I think we'll spend the next maybe 10 minutes or so just to get your views and on actually are there what is the diversity perspective or angle that the asset management firm are they open to a very diverse kind of talent profile? Yeah.
I really feel like opening up a file that I have to report to my headquarters. So we don't need to be precise, right? So in my firm in South Asia, we have slightly above 80 members across 3 offices, which we run here. We have no less than 15 nationalities. I forgot, is it 16 or 17? And we have female representation in the management team at 45%. And we also have, there's a myth that, in certain kind of organization, then you have overwhelming percentage of that nationality. So being a French organization, there may be some kind of misperception. Is it like 50%, 25% French? No, it's actually less than 10%. But I mentioned we have 15 nationalities. So you can imagine the British, the Spanish, the Italian. The list is very long. The China Chinese, the Malaysian, the Australian. So we do have a wide diversity over here, both in gender and also in nationality. In terms of demographic as well. So every year, I may say around 5 to 10% of the cohort are less than 28 years old. So firms like ours, including some of the others, we hire fresh grads. If I may define, fresh grad doesn't mean university grad. It could be poly grad. So fresh grad from school, tertiary education, poly, uni. We give them a runway of 1-2 years, just like any other organization. If they're good and if the opportunity comes, then they will be provided a permanent role. If they found something better, they will go somewhere. And so far, I'm very encouraged to witness that over my 4 years here, none of the interns or the fresh grad who join us couldn't land a job either internally or externally. So it's a very rosy industry, if I may advertise a little bit.
Yeah. Right. Thank you. I think that's wonderful to hear. A lot of people also are wondering how should they approach firms of French HQ background. Should they be of a certain persona? And it's really heartening really to hear that, it's a very diverse pool of very global, talents out there in your firm. And I think finally, I think some interesting questions. You earlier encouraged our friends to have coffee sessions, right? And maybe you could help us a bit with networking tips as well. What kind of topics do you feel that we should look at to strike up conversations for coffee sessions, or what would be of interest to you if they were to approach you?
I think I don't know about the audience in this call, but I always meet up with people who text me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So unless I don't like the person, but how do you have that kind of person in your life and they keep texting you? It doesn't exist. So actually, maybe among us, we should first assume that they are waiting for you to text them. So it's that step that you want to, hi, how are you?
Mm-hmm.
It could be just like that. So when I have my moments where I would like to meet up with my friends, I just text them, hey, long time no see. Then when I recall, it was a year ago. Not a single moment I felt that the person would just ignore me.
Mm-hmm.
Chances are the person will say, hey, I'm overseas. You want to catch up?
Mm-hmm.
Another kind would be, wow, surprised to hear from you. Anything happen? So all kinds of response will come. So you lead to, just want to see whether you're free for catch up. Don't be surprised. It could be 100% reply and say when.
Mm-hmm. Wow,
Yeah, maybe
wonderful.
maybe is we are over pressurizing ourselves. What kind
Ourselves.
of what kind of
Wondering if
response?
we need to say the right thing, right? Not
No, I
necessary.
personally feel keep it as natural as possible, and maybe they're just waiting for you to say hi to them.
Yeah, I think there you
Yeah.
have it, guys. Really, it's just take that chance, like what I would say. Really,
Yeah.
it's yeah, take that action, take that step, really to approach, those who are, that you want to find out more about the asset management industry. People like Albert, who's our IBF fellow, and I think maybe we have one more questions, in terms of from our friends here. I think a lot of them wonder though that what is actually like, that someone say like in the AI industry, or yeah, we have a question about AI in asset management sector. How does it actually impact the roles, like tech roles? Will there create like a new growth of jobs in the asset management industry? What's your take on that?
Yeah. I try to answer this question in pillars. Then it's more structured. Let's go down to the bottom first. I mean, I'm not the bottom, the most fundamental. I mean, efficiency is a keyword for every scalable business. Asset management by itself is a scalable business. Every company aspires to be bigger, because by being bigger, you are more scalable. Your cost base, which is largely fixed, being spreaded, then you are more profitable. Then you can hire more people. So that is the fundamental business model of asset management. So AI, machine learning / automation is fundamentally a key solution to this efficiency problem. So not just Mundi, but I do aware many organizations, they will actually employ experienced people who have automate processes. Doesn't have to be in asset management. It could be in the brokerage firms, insurance company, banks, or even in non-financial sectors, because your skill set in using that software, be it Tableau or Blue Prism or UiPath, and there's so many. I'm sorry, I cannot list all of them. If you have used something else, no offense, but that skill set is transferable.
Right.
It's transferable. I've seen how the fresh grad did it before, but I don't know how to do it. So, oh, you mean it's like that? Wow. Okay. How long do you take to learn this? 3 months. I said, wow, I think my son can do that. So I encourage my son, hey, can you please pick up this course when you're having holiday? I said, Dad, I'm only Sec 3. So I'm just trying to say, these are all transferable skill set. So this will be the bread and butter of digital AI, machine learning, and transformation. So more on the processes related. The second one is more controversial. So we're talking about generative AI. Most asset managers would say this is not an area they would like to be too aggressive in, because at the end of the day, we do believe humans do have better value add. But it will be a lie to say that asset managers totally ignore it. So as far as our industry is concerned, most asset managers imagine they have a lab. So they are doing R&D on machine learning, AI, and generative AI. Whether it will lead to anything, I don't know. I'm not from the lab. So, but I'm a positive person. I do believe that human have its value add, and we will evaluate in a different way compared to 10, 15 years ago. So to answer the question, there's a lot of opportunities in AI and machine learning and generative AI if the audience today have that kind of capabilities and interests. Our industry naturally require more data scientists, I call them, to enhance our processes. So that would be my second pillar. Then the third one is technology as a business line. So you're talking about Amazon, you're talking about some companies who actually have a business line that is using technology as a value proposition. So in my company and some of the others also have. So if I may say something to attract more talent to our industry, it is the fastest growing business line in my company and also in some of the peers in the market. True to the matter, technology has not just become a service, but it has also become a solution to a lot of the problems that asset managers can market it as a service to our clients. So it's also an area that the audience today can consider. Oh, you mean I can join the asset management company and my software knowledge can be used as a selling skill set? Yes, the answer is yes. So asset managers is not just a place where you manage money. I'm just trying to say. The last one is more towards the bread and butter of the creation of the technology know-how in our investment process for investment. So that is also an area that typically companies will insource using internal experts. So we do welcome them to join our industry, saying that, oh, I have all this experience in automating data collections and process them in a unique way. In short, quantitative investment approach. I know your firm don't, but is your firm looking to expand the team to have those kind of quant analysts or managers? Don't be surprised, some of them may have. In my firm, no. So quant investing is extremely popular in Europe and in Australia and in US. It's just that in Asia, not that mainstream. But it's also another area where, oh, you mean I don't need to know how to manage money? Yeah, no. You mean I don't need to know what is this ratio and the ratio? No. But you're very good at quantitative machine design in terms of how the Excel file will help you process data and create a outcome or provide some kind of traffic lights. And you can actually use that skill set and experience, join asset management to value add in that process.
Right. Thanks for the insights. So I'll just take a quick pause here. Can I trouble Elisa or Alan to help launch the poll? I hope everybody had, learned many of the insights, and take down notes very aggressively, taking down where are the pathways that you can look at for yourself, because we're not sure, which what your background, where you come from. But I think Albert has shared really very extensively with us over the past almost an hour already. So maybe for one last two questions, maybe, yeah. So just want to hear from Albert, in terms of like in general, in the asset management industry, what is like a typical likely like a training or onboarding kind of program like for a mid-career, based on your observations? I mean, we're not going to hold you to it. Yeah.
You're talking about orientation programs. So all firms have.
Yeah, in
so
that sense, yes.
I would defer to my HR team to tell you what's the orientation program. But in summary, it's less technical than you think. We are very long term. So I mean the industry, not just Amundi. So when you join, imagine you are not from finance industry, you know nothing about asset management. So you are worried when you join the firm after 1 month, will they assess you in a different way? Answer is no, because it does take a while for you to settle down. So the orientation program is very much likely to be like a tour among all the factory buildings of this industrial park, if I may say. So you probably spend 1 year wondering, okay, so how am I going to value add? But your boss and your colleagues and your business line will continue to just hold your hand and tour you around in the many buildings of this industrial park, because there's so many things that you need to know and see first and not do. So if I may say, your orientation program is more about learning rather than doing during the first 1 month. We are a very industrialized industry. Knowing the right people to work together is extremely important. So teamwork is fundamental, fundamentally the big rock of our task completion. So chances are you get to know many people who will be working with you together from other departments to achieve a goal. So using the orientation program to know who and building rapport actually is what I always observe, whether you are from the industry or not from the industry. So after a while, you realize, oh, you mean it's not that difficult? So I think this orientation program is much easier than you think.
Wonderful. I mean, it's very, very heartening to hear that. And finally, I think a lot of our friends are, also asking networking related questions, and they like to know how they can kickstart to get connected and all that. And our friends are asking you today, how can they get connected with you, Albert?
I mean, I'm one of the many friends of IBF, and I defer to this question to IBF to help me.
Okay, great. So
I'm always very happy to help anyone who is looking for some guidance.
Great.
But I always defer back to IBF.
Thank you.
I do have a few mentees, so I'm happy to try to help. Yeah.
All right, so everybody, Albert, actually usually for such a session that we do with our speakers, our IBF fellow, after the webinar or during the webinar already, people are already checking you out on LinkedIn. So just want to preempt you a bit, right? There'll be lots of friends who will be looking at your profile and try to practice the coffee conversations that they can have with you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And I really thank everybody for the good question you sent through. We hope that the information share and Albert's perspective help you to feel more encouraged and explore more pathways that would be helpful for you. If you do need more help, do reach out to us at IBF Careers Connect. My colleague Alan has helped us to put in our contact email for you to reach out for a career advisory session with us. Myself and my team, we're here to help all Singaporeans and PRs who are eligible for this coaching session. And one final question, or rather just to ask Albert, would you have a final piece of maybe advice for our friends that you would like to share with our participant today?
I feel that all of you have already done the first step, which is signing up to this course. Signing up to this webinar. So please do not stop there. So take a break, no hurry. If any of you have not done up your CV, I think that is a good way to discuss it with IBF if you really have, or you do it yourself. I hope you have more coffee, meaningful ones, with friends at home you want to build relationship with. Don't be surprised they are as eager as you to build those kind of relationship in the long run. And last but not least, be open-minded and just explore. Keep options open. So you will never know when the chance is the right one, but you must first be open to the chances first.
Wonderful. And I really like that, first being open to the chances that's available out there. Really, I think it's through that everyone could tell really how open you are, your attitude towards it, and your level of commitment and interest. And starting with today's webinar, I hope that will help you guys to really kick off your journey ahead and be part of the asset management talent out there in future. Okay, and if you like what we do, we would like you to, those who have not done the poll survey, please help us to do the poll survey so that we can have more sessions like these. And I think Albert is one of, our most supportive IBF fellow for asset management, who really come forward to spend his time with us. Thank you very much, Albert. Really, I think it's really very helpful, and being able to distill, in different layers and all to help those who dial in for this call. All right, and you will close the session. Thank you, Albert, for your time. Thank you, everyone. And if you really like what we have done today, please do write to us and share with us what you have learned. And those who need that list of programs that are generated here, just write into us at IBF Careers Connect, okay? I'm happy to share my list with you, and you can start exploring from there. Right? Thank you. Have a rest of the week. Thank you, Albert. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Charlene, and everyone. All the best.